back in line, you dog! On your feet! Get them going!
Hello, good afternoon. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whatever the case may be. Welcome to, I know I should adjust this stuff before I start. Welcome to Cross Examinations Live. I'm your host, Mike S. Miller. This morning, tomorrow, we are not doing the reconstruction zone. Although, maybe in a strange way, we actually are. Today, I'll be talking about how ancient Sumer confirms the Bible, because we've got a young fella in the, I assume he's young because he talks like he just got out of high school and is so convinced that everything you learn in public school is true. Hello, Tina. What am I saying? Oh, yeah. So he posted a video that he thinks just proves that the Bible cribbed stuff from other civilizations, not comprehending quite what the Bible is trying to explain. So I am going to explain it for you. Anyways, yeah, that's what we're going to be doing today, and I'm sure we'll be interrupted, and squirrels will be chased, squirrels will be offered and sacrificed to the squirrel of squirreling. And so let it be written, so let it be so. I got about 10 minutes into this video he sent, and I was doing it on 1.5 speed, and that's what we're going to do here now. So let's just jump right into it, shall we? Yes, we shall, because I'm in control. So here we go.
Be it the Christian Bible, the Tanakh of the Jews, or the Holy Quran of the Muslims, within the pages of these sacred books, it is believed one can find the path to reunite, once in heaven, into the loving arms of his creator, the God.
Just real quick correction here. The Tanakh is in the Old Testament. So it's, I know it's 3 different religions, but one religion is the fulfillment of the others, and the other religion is the corruption of the both.
God of Abraham, also known as...
In case you don't know, the Islam is the corruption of the both. Here we have another falsehood. He's not known as God. First of all, he's known as Jesus, but yes, also he's known as Jehovah, which is a tetragrammaton, which is also, it's the Greekified version of saying Yahweh. Allah,
in Christianity,
I'll let him
Yahweh,
get to it, but
and Allah in Islam.
See, he goes by it so fast. Allah is a totally different God, totally different in concept, totally different. They crib some stories from the Bible, but and they even crib stories that were apocryphal to the Bible, just fictional books that were being written at the time or around the time of Muhammad. So already not a good start. What are we in? 20 seconds in. All right, 20 seconds in.
Billions worldwide pose their faith in the one and only God, and in the scripture contained in these holy texts. Yet, how many of us truly understand where the stories written in these holy books and the concept of God itself really originate? Have you ever...
Yeah, most of us do. What you're trying to do here is confuse us into thinking that, oh, you mean just because these stories were delivered and written in the time of Moses, that means they originated in the time of Moses. No, if my dad, he's dead, but say my dad, forget my dad, say my grandfather had told me his experiences in World War. Now, my mom's still alive. My mom tells me her experiences in World War II, right? I write them down and publish them in the year 2025. Does that mean, or she, forget it, she writes them down and publishes them in the year 2025. Does that mean, no, wait, I'm trying to make this metaphor. I'm just thinking this while I just got up. Still working on the first half of my first cup of coffee. Hold on a second. So she tells a story. The story is true. The story is her experience. I write them down and publish them in the year 2025. Some 80 years later. Is it still not true? Right? I wrote them down, but I'm writing down her story. I'm not copying her story and saying it happened to me in the year 2025. I'm basically being dictated to a story that happened 80 years prior to me publishing it. Right? This is critical thinking. I'm trying to express to the guy who sent me this that he seriously needs to take some critical thinking courses or read some books or something where he can think critically. Because, and I don't blame him. I said this in the Discord. I don't blame him. I blame our public schooling system, because our public schools don't want you to know how to think. Our public schools don't want you to know what to think. And unless you can break free of what is essentially programming, they tell you what to think, and then they tell you that anyone that thinks anything else is crazy. No, you need to learn how to think, how to break down things critically and understand what you're arguing, understand the meaning of the words you're saying, and understand where what you were taught to think is wrong. Just because somebody says a thing, takes the time to write a book, or takes the time to make a video, doesn't make what they say true. You have to think critically about this stuff. So just as if I write down what my mom tells me happened to her in World War II, it does not mean I am copying her story and saying it happened to me. It is her story. Likewise, if God is delivering the truth of what happened to Moses, God breathed words of what happened, it does not diminish the truth of that thing, taking into account that you believe that that is the truth. I understand these guys don't believe it is the truth. Mike, everybody thinking the same. The C word. Critical? Critique? Counterintuitive? Cholesterol? What are you talking about? So, that being the case, if you understand that the book was written from outside of time by an authorship who understood everything that happened in history, you will understand that when things from other civilizations corroborate those stories, that means they have, communism. I wasn't thinking of communism. That means that those stories have some portion of the truth, right? Let me keep going, because I feel like I'm getting ahead of the story here.
Wondered, why do the stories in the Tanakh, Bible, and Quran share so many similarities?
Well, the Quran, the Bible, and the Tanakh, because the Tanakh is part of the Bible. It's the Old Testament. That's why it's so similar. The New Testament adds to the Old Testament because it is Jesus. It's the fulfillment of the Messiah and his story, his gospel. The Quran stole stories out of the Bible, literally plagiarized stories out of the Bible, took other stories from external not apocryphal, but, well, is it apocryphal? What do you call pseudo-deuteronomical? Pseudo-canonical. Is that the right word? They're not actually... No, what is the word for all those other books that came about after, like in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th century? It's not deuterocanonical. That's the Apocrypha. The Apocrypha is deuterocanonical. What is the word for those fictions that popped up in the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th century? I can't remember. But Muhammad stole stories out of those books too. That's why they're similar. There, I answered your question for you.
Not just among themselves, but also often bear striking resemblances to the mythologies of other ancient civilizations, which existed thousands of years prior to these religions.
I just explained that. Does everybody understand? They're fake Gnostic gospels. Okay. Is that accurate though? Is that? I mean, to me, they're just like they're fictional books that people. I don't know why they wrote them. I mean, just I guess the same reason any writer would write anything, right?
Being established. What if I were to
What's
tell
up, John
you that the
Gregson?
stories within these books
Gregerson.
originated thousands of years prior to these books being written? That before Jesus resurrected, many others before him had resurrected.
This feels like it's rolling right into the zeitgeist baloney. I grokked. Somebody brought up the zeitgeist thing on Twitter a couple days ago, and it was the Isis, is it Isis and Osiris, the thing about the virgin birth, and I'm like where I'm on Grok, where did this idea of this virgin birth correlation with Christianity come from? Where did it originate? It literally originated from the Zeitgeist movie. It was like the first time it's been mentioned. It was like, because when I watched Zeitgeist, my nephew made me watch Zeitgeist a long time ago. And I sat down and watched this. I'm like, this is complete and utter bullcrap. and since then, people have been using this virgin birth of Osiris or whatever. I think it's Osiris. And it's like, okay, the guy made himself or Isis. What was it? Osiris? If I'm getting the names wrong, just tell me. But he was chopped into little pieces and killed. Isis like brought him back together, Frankensteined him back together, but lost his penis. So fashioned herself a wooden penis to strap to him and brought him back to life, I guess, and then did the ditty with him and then birthed someone. So that in no way, shape, or form correlates to the virgin birth of Christ. I hate to bring it up because it's disgusting, but I see, I can tell this is like many before him had resurrected. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, okay.
Before Noah saved humanity from the great flood, many others before him had done the same.
Okay. Many others before him had done the same. No. That's what I'm saying. If you go, there's over, and anybody who knows anything knows that there's over 200, some think it might be over 500, basically Noah flood stories, global flood stories around the world. It's not just the Epic of Gilgamesh. It is not just ancient Sumer. It is the Aborigines in Australia. It is the Chinese, the Mao people in China. It's all over. Every people group practically on the face of the planet has a global flood story, which has crossover with angry God wipes out. He's angry at the people for all their sin, right? Wipes out the people except for one righteous man, his family, on a giant ark or a boat or a cube, whatever it is. The story changes because the story's 4,500 years old. So, things change over time, which is why God wrote it down and got the record right in the Bible. But all those stories corroborate that this event happened. It's not that it's being stolen from one culture to the other. How are the Aborigines in Australia stealing this story from Gilgamesh? Right? That's illogical, impractical. China. You think China's like going over and, hey Gilgamesh, tell me that great story so I can crib it? No, these people all had a central truth. The central truth came because of the flood. The flood happened about 4,500, 5,000 years ago. I can't remember the exact date these days, but about 45, give or take, 100 years ago. That's when this happened. This is the dumbest argument that you hear all the time because you don't want to think about this. Everyone who lives near water has a flood story because floods happen. Anyone who lives near water and has a flood story knows that the entire world wasn't flooded and everybody on earth wasn't killed except for one righteous man, his family, saving all of the animals on a giant boat. Everyone who lives actually near water has flood stories where they, their neighbors, the town next door has survivors. No flood story would wipe out the entire earth if you live near a floodplain. It's ludicrous to make that argument, and yet here you are. It didn't happen worldwide, except for all the stories say it did. Well, maybe not all of them, but like 200 of them at least. It's a constant. Floods happen everywhere, all the time, right? Little local floods. Nobody thinks that flooded the entire world. So why would that be a myth? Why would that be a legend? Why would that be a story? It doesn't make any sense, Corp Grinder. Think critically. Instead of thinking what you preconceive, their known world. Okay, in nobody's known world, just think through this, okay? In no one's known world is one family the only survivors of a flood. In no one's known world did one family save all the animals of the world on a giant boat. These things are in this story around the world. Totally disparate, disconnected people have the same story. Grinder, your local flood excuse is complete bollocks, and you know it. The dates don't matter. Honestly, the dates don't matter because we have different calendars, for one thing. John Gregerson says, many forget that the founder of Judaism, Abram, also came from ancient Mesopotamia. I was going to get to that. It's not like Judaism appropriated other people's stories or myth. I know. Think critically. There isn't enough water. That's okay. You have to abide the actual model of the creation event. If you're going to say there isn't enough water to cover the mountains of the earth as they are now, I would agree with you. However, then you have to explain to me why there are seashells on the top of Mount Everest. Oh. Seashells on top of the highest mountains in the world. Obviously, a pelican gathered the seashells in his mouth, flew up to the top of the mountain, and sprinkled them all over the mountain, lodging them into the rocks and making them blah, 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 blah. No. See, because the geography of the earth prior to the flood was significantly different, which is how we have all these sedimentary layers all over the earth on the highest mountain peaks. Because yes, the what do they call it? Plate tectonics is a thing. It just went much faster than you could possibly believe. And also the evidence of that is the fact that we have strata that is in waves and in buckles and curves and wrapped around giant giant boulders and whatnot. I saw that myself driving from San Jose to Santa Fe, New Mexico. I wish I had taken a picture, but it was before cell phones. All of these things are literally impossible under plate tectonics, because in order for you to curve rock like that, you have to heat that rock up. Like, I can't remember what the temperature is. I think that's like, it's an insane temperature. The kind of temperature that if that was anywhere near the surface of the earth, all life on earth would have been decimated. So what is the other solution? Did it go down into the mantle and then heat up so much that it buckled and then come right back up to the top? No, that's nonsense. Come on, let's be realistic. Or is it possible that as all these sedimentary layers were being deposited and they were still soft and malleable like clay, then the plate tectonics came, squished them together, and made these beautiful curving strata around the globe? Oh, it's funny how the actual facts line right up with the global flood. They have explanations for why. No. They don't. They have excuses, Corpse Grinder, because when you look at it simply, it's like, oh gosh, what is the simplest explanation for that? The layers were still wet, the layers were still malleable, and the continents shifted. That is the simplest explanation. All you can do is try to come up with bullcrap reasons why solid rock can be bent and curved and collapsed without destroying the sedimentary, without destroying the sedimentary layers themselves. And it's all baloney. It's all baloney, my friend. Critical thinking. Don't you know these dang seashells spitting Mount Everest birds? I know. The Bible really is magic. It's magic in the awesome sense. God is good indeed. All right, let's keep going here.
That before Eve committed the original sin, many others before her had similarly transgressed. And even before God created the heavens and the earth, there were other gods who similarly performed these very acts. In today's video,
again, different tellings of the same story, which got watered down and dispersed over time. It's so simple to explain this stuff.
We will delve into the origins of gods and religion. We will explore answers to questions like why primary gods are often associated with thunderstorms and lightning, why they're typically imagined as males and not females, and why they are considered benevolent but are also known to punish humanity with great floods. We will look into why mountains are deemed the most sacred places in various religions.
It's supper low? Okay.
Why bulls are venerated as the most sacred animals, while snakes are often the unholiest. We will also uncover the roots of spirits, ghosts, and demons, and explore the origins of the concept of sins. And step by step, we will understand how.
I really didn't get this far. I mean, I got this far into the video, but I didn't get as far as all the stuff he's explaining. I'm only like 10 minutes into this thing, so let's...
Now, for the sake of knowledge, we're going to travel 5,000 years back in time to when our ancestors lived in the most humble conditions. The beginning I will present to you will feel a bit strange, but don't worry.
I'm sorry, what did he say? The beginning of humanity and history was how long ago was that? What did he say? 5,000 years? What did I say about the flood for the 4,500, 5,000 years, something like that, somewhere around that? Wait, what was his total? What was his?
To when our ancestors lived in the most humble conditions. The beginning I will present to you.
2,900 plus 2,200. Oh wait, that's not even 500. That's not even 5,000 years, is it? No, not 2,200, 2,000. So it's just under 5,000. So it's about 4,900 years ago. He's claiming this is the accurate time. So what was that window I gave? 4,500 to 5,000 years ago. That's when the flood was. Sorry. If science claims, you science believers, don't you claim that mankind is like 200,000 to like 2 million years old? Isn't that your claim? I believe that is the accurate. I mean, maybe I don't have this up loud enough. Sorry. Riddle me this, critical thinkers. If mankind is, let's just take the low bar here, 200,000 years old, why did they wait until 4,500, 5,000 years ago to start history? To start writing things down and telling stories. And why did they wait until a timeline that corroborates the flood in the Bible to start building things? Did you know that the oldest buildings above ground are about 4,500 years old? Did you notice that? Yeah, we've got other stuff that was like buried, I would assume, buried by the flood, discovered underground or buried or even under the ocean that could date back later. I question the actual dating techniques, but if they date back later than that, they could be pre-flood. But the oldest standing buildings on top of the Earth's crust surface, 4,500 years. What's the oldest living tree? Oh, 4,500 years. Weird. It's very strange that documented history, archaeological buildings, and the oldest living tree all kind of line up with this 4,500 to 5,000 year window when the flood occurred. What would a critical thinking mind come up with to explain all that away if you reject the flood? Corpse Grinder, please, by all means, tell me, Beckley Tepe is what? What did I just explain, Corpse Grinder? Underground. It got buried. Thank you for playing. Have a nice day. Listen to the words. Use your ears. Listen to the words I'm saying. The oldest standing above ground structures are 4,500 years old or younger. Oh, why aren't they 6,000 years old? Corpse Grinder? Why aren't they 6,000 years old? Why aren't they 10,000 years old, Grinder? Why aren't they 100,000 years old, Grinder? If mankind has been around for 200,000 years old, surely one of the first things they could have figured out how to do is stack freaking rocks and make houses, right? It's not that hard. It's one of the first things children learn how to do. Little baby toddlers figure out how to stack things on top of each other. It's not going to take a PhD in oh my gosh, my brain's farting. In construction, whatever. To make an outdoor structure, a standing structure. And yet somehow, even though you had 200,000 years to do it, you didn't start doing it until 4,500 years ago. At least we don't have records of it because maybe everything was buried by a global flood. Right? Our kids play with blocks. Their kids were trying not to be eaten. You know what a great way to not be eaten is? Build a stone structure to protect yourselves from the animals. That's a great argument, Corpse Grinder. We'll get you to think critically one of these days. All right, we'll move on. I think I made my point. Everything this guy says is going to confirm the Bible.
Will feel a bit strange, but don't worry. Everything will make sense as the story progresses. Our story begins here in the land of Sumer, our first civilization, a time when humans...
So the first civilization was in the land of Sumer. How long ago? 45 to 5,000 years ago? How strange is that? That's the first civilization. You would think if man was 200,000 years old, they might have figured out civilization a little earlier than the date of the flood. Wouldn't you? Right? I mean, why start a civilization right along the time that the flood says, civilization had to start all over again? Why? Why? You had a whole 195,000 years before that to start a civilization. You know what the first civilization in China was? All the way over there on the other side of that continent. Oh my God, it was 4,500 years ago. Isn't that weird, Grinder? Even in China, civilization started 4,500 years ago. Weird. It's kind of like suddenly something happened, and then civilization started everywhere right about 4,500 years ago. Call me crazy. Oh, but this guy's saying it himself. So why? Thanks for corroborating the Bible once again, Mr. Whatever his name is.
Did not believe in just one god, but many deities, a time when polytheism was the norm. The year is 2900 BCE, quite a while since the Sumerian god Enlil created our world by separating heaven from earth.
I can't corroborate. I could if I did some study. I'm taking everything he's saying here at face value. So I'm assuming that he's done his research and he's not being disingenuous or anything. So it sounds like they have a creation story that very much corroborates what the Bible says. And it's funny, he's using it to try to say that the Bible is cribbed. But once again, this is not the only place this creation story exists. Machu Picchu has a carved like mural wall that has a creation story very similar to this as well. Machu Picchu in Mexico. Do you think okay, they weren't Mexicans. Do you think the Mesoamericans got in their little boats, floated all the way over to ancient Sumer and be like, hey guys, what do you think happened? You think God separated the heavens from the earth and there was flood, all this stuff? Can we steal your story? Because we need to go make a temple over there in Machu Picchu and carve it into the wall. Is that okay if we do that? 5 to 10 isn't 4,500. I said it was 4,500 to 5,000. You're adding the 210. Also, that's 500 years off civilization at best. I said 45 to 5,000. I'm not exact on the date. I'm telling you what is 4,500 years, which I think is very convenient. Like the oldest tree, 4,500 years. China, 4,500 years. Gilgamesh, he's saying 4,900 years. Whatever. The Mexicans must have seen some of these monkeys that floated the leaf rafts from Africa to South America. Walking the Spirit said they do. Their stories, Atrahasis, Epic of Gilgamesh, and more speak of the same flood story too. Right. It's a strange coincidence, isn't it? What a coincidence indeed. I posted in Discord my theory of the flood account, albeit the short version. All right. China is 5,000 to 10,000 years. No, it's not. The Chinese started writing their language 4,500 years ago. And oh yeah, we should get into the Chinese language. We got to do an episode on the Chinese language. And their oldest dynasty, I believe, is around the same time, Shang Dynasty.
Enlil is the most revered god of the Sumerian pantheon, so glorious that not even the other gods could look upon him and live.
That's interesting, isn't it? I would say that makes the other gods not a capital G god, right? The oldest Chinese civilization has roots stretching back to at least 5,000. And then you add to 10,000 years, marked by the development of early agricultural settlements and cultures like the Yangshao. How old is the Chinese written language, Corpse Grinder? Go look that up.
Enlil is also known as Great Mountain, for he lives in the mountains, closest to the sky, in temples humans erected for him, and from these mountains he observes, from above, his creation. The people of Sumer know they are being observed from the mountains and hills, and they know when Enlil decides to leave the mountains and comes to visit them.
Okay, so this is not obviously a perfect correlation between the Genesis account, and if this is the accurate ancient Sumerian account. But that's what I'm saying. You have time to get stuff wrong. You've got thousands of years, whatever. And people can just get stuff wrong. But you have correlations along the route. Just like you have correlation, Machu Picchu, Aborigines, whatever, all over the place. Oops.
Neil decides to visit mankind. Enormous black clouds come from these mountains, covering the sun, and thus bringing darkness over the land. And as the clouds draw near and near...
Is it echoing for you guys, or no? Corpse, are you okay? LMAO, we know that humans existed prior to 4,500 years ago. That's irrelevant. Recorded history isn't 10,000 years because of the flood, genius. Why not just take the largest number that would also encompass the smaller number? No. Thank you, Tina.
Here, the people feel increasingly more anxious and scared, and this makes them wonder, what could possibly be the reason why Enlil decided to visit us today? Enlil, god of the wind and thunderstorm, has just arrived, claiming the sky for himself, and he now looms powerfully over the land of Sumer. The winds are so strong that trees are being uprooted, and people can barely stay on their feet. Everyone who can is now desperately running to their homes. His deafening thunder fills the people with fear and makes the land tremble. His arrival brings judgment upon those who have sinned the most, striking them with lightning. But then, rain comes, a lot of it, for many hours, before Enlil decides it is enough, and thus retreats back to the mountains. The farmers come outside of their homes. They look around, and now they feel thankful and rejoice for the gift of water they have just received. Rain is very scarce in the land of Sumer. This will bring new life to the seeds farmers planted, with so much love and dedication. Enlil is a benevolent god.
Wait a second. Rain is very scarce in the land of Sumer. Well, you mean it's not a floodplain?
Who loves his creation, and does so not just by pouring water onto the crops of farmers, but also by actively driving every bull which pulls the plows. Cattle are such important animals for farming. The people of Sumer dedicate a full constellation in the night sky to Enlil, the constellation of Boötes, also known as the ox driver, and the constellation of Taurus. Bull is considered to be the first constellation ever drawn in mankind, probably what the Sumerians referred to as Gugalana, the bull of heavens. However, Enlil is not always as benevolent as you saw him today, and the people of Sumer were rightly afraid for a good reason for his arrival. Enlil is a very moody god, and when his anger is larger than his compassion, he descends from the mountains on board of his clouds, and he covers the land of Sumer. Then, he starts pouring water into the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, until their shores can hold no more, declaring, "Humans are too noisy. Humans are too many. They do not let me sleep. These sinners must be washed away from existence, so that new humans may replace them."
Just for the sake of redundancy, so he's claiming that because this part is so similar to the Bible stole it, or the Hebrews stole it from this story. And again, this story is all around the planet, 200 plus, some say as much as 500. And you can look this up for yourself. Anybody can if they want to. Disparate claims of a global flood by an angry God, mad at mankind, wiping them away and starting over with a new singular righteous family on a giant boat with all of the animals. It's just so funny that you claim, oh, everybody had floods. Everybody had floods. So that's why they made up the exact same story. Everybody did. Because,
And so, the water from the Tigris and Euphrates overflows. The floods crush the villages, demolishing all buildings, annihilating all which lives within their walls. Men, women, kids, oldies. Nobody is left alive. Nobody except one. The god Enki, who created humans by mixing clay, the earthly piece of our mortality.
That's another. See how the little pieces of the original story make their way through. And the original story, again, got lost in time. Pieces made their way to all these different. You should read the Mao people in China. They have an extraordinarily accurate take on the Genesis account. It's really, really good. But so Mike, those people in ancient China had no concept of Yahweh or Jesus. Are they all in hell? Yeah, they did. So the Shang dynasty was named after Shang Ti. Shang Ti means heavenly emperor. They worshipped the one true God, heavenly emperor, and they sacrificed animals to it, just like the Jews did, right? And then eventually the Shang dynasty decided that they were the only ones worthy. You see this in, well, hell, I mean, honestly, you see it in Catholicism practically. You see it in a lot of religions where it's like the power brokers of that religion decide that the people aren't worth that the people should worship them instead of worshiping God. So yeah, they did know back then, and those today. Also, oh my gosh, I should get to the Chinese language stuff. It's amazing. Corpse Grinder, they all had their own Noah. God must have saved a family from every culture then. No, you silly person. See, there was this thing called the Tower of Babel. This all fits the narrative, Corpse Grinder. Even when you try to be snarky, you're committing to the narrative of the Bible. They all had their own languages. So the words for everything would be different. So they all had their own Noah. No, they didn't name him the same thing. They all had their same righteous man, his family, giant boat, all the animals. The objects of the story are the same. The language and the names for what an ark is, for what a cow is, for what a Noah is, would be different because of the Tower of Babel. Thank you for corroborating, once again, the biblical story.